everybody. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming at WMNHradio.org. And also on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Let's see. Of course, you can also, if you go to mattconnarton.com and click Listen Live, that gets you there as well, plus all the contact info for the show. You can call us at 603-250-6007. Text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton. You can send an email to Matt at mattconnarton.com. And if you go to mattconnarton.com and click Listen Live, it also brings you to a page where you can leave comments there, right there on the page, and even message me directly through the page. So, if you've been kicked off of social media, maybe you're a president of the United States who's been deplatformed and you need a way to communicate. Well, there you go. There's an option for you. So it is Friday, January 15, 2021. And it occurred to me, on Fridays, I have a tradition. I like to open with that Freaky Friday song parody by Little Dicky that I found on the YouTube some like 3.5 years ago, however long it's been. It wasn't quite at the beginning of the Trump administration, but this is probably the last. This is it. This is the last Friday I'll get to open with that. I mean, in theory, I could still open my Friday shows with it. It's always been kind of fun to open with that song, but on Fridays. But it won't be relevant after this week. So next week is the big week. The big week, my friends. The end of an era. Anyway, it'll be a different show in some ways. There won't be as many song parodies. There definitely won't be as many song parodies and funny stuff to open the show. I mean, we won't have a walking, talking cartoon character for a president anymore, so it'll be a little different. But anyway, so let's see. Of course, I want to remind you all that we are proudly, I hear sirens. Those sirens. We are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street from us. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. It is a wonderful place. Trivia night is back on Wednesday nights there. So, I always like to say great food, great service, and a great family that owns and operates it too. So, please support them if you would. We would appreciate it. And it's a great place to get carry out. If you don't want to stick around, just get your food to go. You can do that. And this is really cool. I need to remember to mention this every show because I think this is so awesome. They have face masks that you can purchase there. They look really great. They're black and they say the Hop Knot on there. If you go to pick up food there, say you order food for carryout and you go to pick it up wearing your face mask, your Hop Knot face mask, when you go to pick up your food, you automatically get 10% off. It's almost like you buy the face mask. It's like a discount card, like a VIP card, except it's a mask. And it gets you a discount every time, which I think is amazing. So be sure to patronize the Hop Knot, if you will. And we have our first call of the show today. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Yeah, you got to sponsor, Matt. You got to sponsor Hop Knot. Why don't you get a real sponsor? Because I'm thinking about sponsoring somebody.
Wow.
I'm Q.
Yes. Wow. This is amazing. So we haven't heard from you, Q, in months and months and months. How are you? I suspect you've been very busy.
Of course I've been busy.
Mm-hmm.
The deep state. You know it.
Oh,
listen, you want to be sponsored by Q? Will you give me a little blurb like you do for the Hop Knot?
Well, I don't know, Q. Do you wear a?
You afraid of Q? Well, maybe you love the deep state.
I've been called the deep statist, I guess, because of my endorsement of universal health care.
Oh, yeah, universal health care. That's a big part of the deep state, no question about it. Along with the military-industrial complex, the medical-industrial complex, the education-industrial complex, the welfare-industrial complex. It's endless. And you know what? It's costing nothing but money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Q, I have to ask.
And that's what Q's on, man. I'm on the money.
You're on.
Because the money is what's hollowing out the United States of America. Real patriots care about the money.
You know what's odd, though, Q? I haven't heard the money really discussed much over the course of the Trump administration, probably because during the Trump administration, we've had record spending and deficits and just racking up the debt. So how do you explain that?
Why do you think that is?
The deep state?
You got it, Bob. You got it.
No.
You bingo. Bingo. That's what I say. Yeah, the deep state. Yeah, they're flooding the country with money. You know why?
Why, Q?
Well, because they don't target inflation or full employment or the economy. They care about one number, the S&P 500. That's the only thing they care about. Because the rich people, the top 1%, they own it all. They own all the S&P 500. They own 91% of stocks. 91? Bet you didn't know that. Because you're following that godless commie scum, on your liberal networks, the failing New York Times, AOC, your hero, and that dummy from Minnesota, what's her name? What is her name? Omar?
Oh,
the one with the turban?
Ilhan Omar.
Oh, yeah, I love her. Listening to her is like getting your head hit with a ball-peen hammer 25 times a minute.
See, I wouldn't know that, Q. I've never been struck with a ball-peen hammer 25 times a minute. What's that like?
Well, yeah, I haven't been hit with a ball-peen hammer anyway, but either. But you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
this is a crazy woman married to her brother, and came into the United States under a false name, and. The people of Minnesota, well, they're obviously crazy. You saw what happened last spring, right? All these, peoples of color, which you would call them, they decided to burn down their own neighborhood. What the hell is that?
All I know is, Q, I've always appreciated Minnesota for electing, granted it was a couple of decades ago, Jesse the Body Ventura to be governor. I've always appreciated Minnesota for that.
Oh, no, there's a Jesse Ventura. That's a personal hero of mine.
Ah, Q.
This is a guy that understands the deep state.
Well, you and I, Q, have found some common ground. I also love Jesse Ventura.
You know what? Jesse Ventura, he understands it. There are conspiracies out there, which you denigrate on your show.
Well, yeah, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist.
You don't think there's any conspiracies out there.
I'm
everything
skeptical.
is completely normal. Everybody's on the up and up. Everybody's telling the truth.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to give you my version of the truth.
Your version? Okay.
You know what I say? Matt Connarton? If that's what you're calling yourself these days?
That is my legal name is Matthew, but Matt Connarton.
Yeah, you have a biblical name, huh?
I do. I am named for Matthew in the Bible. My father is Catholic.
Well, I got some news for you and your liberal father and your liberal wife, girlfriend, whatever she is. I've seen her on your show. Things don't go exactly the way Nancy Pelosi says, or AOC, or the rest of that godless commie scum that listens to your radio program.
Yes,
things aren't that way. There's a real deep state out there. There are conspiracies out there, Matthew. There are real conspiracies.
Yes,
and you know what? They're getting your money because that's what it's all about. They want your money.
By the way, Q, I have to correct you on one thing. My father is not a liberal. He used to be, but you and he actually would probably get along quite well.
I guess you're trying to patronize me.
No, I'm not.
You're making condescending, sarcastic remarks
that's
like
the thing.
You do all the time because that's who you are.
No, it's actually true.
Let me explain something to you.
Yes, Q.
I'm head of a movement here. You understand that, right?
I do.
Q, we were all over.
Yes.
Pennsylvania Avenue last week.
Yes. Oh, I remember. Were you? Wait a minute, Q. Were you there?
course I was there. Of course I was there.
Well, aren't you worried about the FBI?
Incognito. They had people who claimed to be the authorized representative of me, but they're not. They're just imposters. There's a lot of imposters in Washington, D.C. We got a lot of congressmen pretending they're patriots.
Yes, right. Which ones would you say are the pretenders, in your opinion?
Yeah, like 95%.
95%? Wow.
Yeah, at least.
Jeepers.
It's probably 100%. I'm being generous here.
Oh, wow.
But let me explain something to you. I'm head of a new movement now.
A new movement?
I designed the movement.
Okay.
But I'm head of it now.
This is a big...
Stop the Steal.
I don't know if that's new, Q.
It's catchy, right?
Well,
Stop the Steal? No, it's Q.
It's
because the steal ain't what you think it is.
Oh, you mean like stop the steal as in stop importing steel from other countries to build our American buildings? That kind of steel?
You're dumber than I thought, Matthew. You're dumber than I thought.
I'm sorry.
No. The steal that's going on in Congress, why do you think all those people went to the Capitol?
Well,
oh, you think everybody's a Trump lover? No.
Well,
that's not why they were there.
Okay.
They were there to stop the steal. And there's nobody stealing more money than Congress, the senators and the congressmen, who are little more than proxies for corporate America, for the rich people and media like yourself.
Yes. That's why I get the
big... represent you.
That's why I get the big contract.
Fake news.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm not sure that everyone's on the same page in your movement, Q, because I'm pretty sure everyone, like literally everyone else who is there, is more concerned with protecting their savior, Donald John Trump. No, I don't think they're worried about the money, as you say.
Yeah, well, I mean, how did that work out, Mike Pence, loyal Trumpanista? He really protected Trump, right?
Yeah.
When we got there, we wanted to get our hands on him.
I know.
Not because he's a Trump lover, because he's a phony. He's a bootlicker.
Right. Well,
much like yourself, Matt.
But I thought...
you lick different boots. You lick the boots of AOC, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck, the New Yorker, Schumer.
I don't really lick boots. That's not... I mean, even if I did, that would be more...
Lickers never say they lick boots.
More for my other show. Yeah. So, Q, I'm confused. So, do you still support Trump? It sounds like you're
Look, I support Trump. You know why? Because he's a disruptor.
Oh.
Because the New York Times and the Washington Post, they hate Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate them.
Yes.
Because they're the fake news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody follows these editorialists in the New York Times and the Washington Post. Hey, have you ever listened to that Krugman guy?
Paul Krugman.
Got some kind of Nobel Prize?
Yes.
For some obscure area of the economy? Does anybody know what he got a Nobel Prize for?
I don't actually know offhand.
Of course, nobody knows.
Right. Well,
he knows.
He knows.
He wrote some paper, I guess they thought it was smart, but this is a very stupid guy. And let me explain something to you about Mr. Krugman.
Yes.
Dr. whatever he calls
I think it's
himself.
Krugman, yes.
He says the federal government should be borrowing money from now until the end of time because interest rates are low.
Ah, yes. Well, what's the problem with that?
But he forgot a cardinal principle of capitalism.
Yes.
In capitalism, capital cannot be free.
Ah.
Capital has to have a cost. Mm-hmm. But in Krugman world, it's low interest rate. We can borrow as much as we want, and reinflate all these, stupid asset classes that the rich people own. Because he's a rich person. Won the Nobel Prize. He got $1 million for that.
They give you $1 million that's a hell of a prize. I want to win a prize like that. I saw a video recently, Q, of a Trump supporter claiming that Trump had won 4 Nobel, I believe this woman pronounced it, 4 Nobel prizes.
Yeah, look. Trump used Q, and Q used Trump. But now it's over. Trump's yesterday's news.
Wait a minute. So you're kicking Trump to the curb, Q? You're done with him?
Not kicking him to the curb. He was very, very useful to the movement, the Q movement. But as you know, we're infiltrating Congress now. We're getting rid of the garbage in Congress. We got some gun-toting, real Q supporters in Congress now. Yeah, we're trying to keep now with the metal detectors and all that crap.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop us. We got ceramic guns.
By the way, Melanie Feddersen in the Facebook live chat says, I use Q-tips. Oh, very nice.
Well, I didn't hear that. What is that?
Q-tips. You probably invented those, Q.
Q-tips. Very cute. No, I didn't invent that.
Oh, all right. Well, are you the one who ripped out the panic buttons at Congress? Was that you, Q?
No, that wasn't me. I was just there directing things, making a little trouble.
Directing things?
That whole thing, people don't understand what it was. That whole thing was a warning. We didn't fire any shots. Yeah, we had bombs. We left them in the cars. We didn't bring them into the Capitol.
That was good of you.
You know why?
Yeah. Why, Q?
Because we don't want to hurt that building.
Oh.
We love that building.
You do?
That building used to have a lot of very smart, loyal patriots in it.
Uh-huh.
But now what we got? We got a bunch of proxies for corporate America and rich people there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and Nancy Pelosi,
there are a
you
lot
know how much that woman is worth?
I know
as
it's
she pleads for the plight of the poor. You know what she's worth?
I do know she has a very nice refrigerator. I've seen a video of it. What is she worth, Q?
She's worth $100 million.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
For someone that cares about the poor, you think she'd be donating a little of that money, maybe to the homeless people in San Francisco who she represents.
She did tell Wolf Blitzer that she feeds hungry people.
Well, you'd think Nancy Pelosi'd be organizing them so they could vote for her. I'm sure she does. Maybe she gives them a macaroon or a little chocolate candy so they go to the polls to vote for her.
I would enjoy a macaroon, but I'm very open about the fact that I am very much for sale. And I can be bought with food.
Well, you're just like all the others, you belong down there. You ought to run for Congress. You can run against that guy that represents your city, Manchester, New Hampshire. What's his name? The restaurateur, the restaurant that got closed down because of COVID.
Well, we don't want to get into that. We don't want to get into that, Q. But speaking of COVID, sir, I'm concerned about you. I get the impression, now, Q, I don't know what you look like. I don't know much about you. You're very, very mysterious. But I get the impression you're an older gentleman. Have you been vaccinated yet for COVID, Q?
I'm not an older gentleman. I'm as young as you. I used to be on the New York City police force.
Really?
I quit because there's too much politics in it. Mm-hmm. And I decided to work on the outside to reform America and make it great again.
Yes.
That's what Trump said he wanted to do, but, look at what's happened with Trump. I mean, the guy, he's a little bit of a nutcase.
Wow.
I supported him. I did the best I could.
Yes.
But, you can't support a guy that just keeps lying and lying and lying. I mean, there's no end to it.
What? Well, Q, I'm surprised. Once again, you and I might be on the same page. I also feel that Trump is a liar.
Yeah, he's a liar, but you know what?
This is a
I
breakthrough.
was very loyal.
Yes,
and
you were.
Money buys loyalty in this world.
Yes, it does.
Maybe you're surprised about that.
I'm not.
I was getting this huge salary for the committee to reelect the president.
You were on the committee to reelect the president?
I was employed by them. I was an asset.
Okay, an asset. Okay.
I infiltrated, places. Trying to get information for Donald Trump so he could expose stuff on TV and on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But now, he doesn't expose anything because they cut him off.
Right. Well, so he's of no use to you now. Like, you're not going to continue
well,
to...
he's of some use. I mean, there's still a rallying cry around Donald Trump. He's got a big fan club.
Yes, he does.
And Q, our fan club isn't as big as Trump's, but we're trying to get some of those people to cross over.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you'll be very successful at that, Q.
Now, what did you think? Personally, I mean, what did you think about the demonstration at the Capitol? They mischaracterized it. They called it a riot.
Yeah.
They called us criminals, right?
Yeah, yes. There's words like insurrection, domestic terrorist.
Stop right there. Stop right there, Matt Connarton.
Yeah. Please respond to that.
One man's insurrectionist, one man's rioter, one man's is a revolutionary. Yeah, we were revolutionaries. They hate violence at the Capitol, right?
Uh-huh.
But we wouldn't have that Capitol without violence.
All right, Q, I know you're not going to answer. You're probably not going to answer this because you don't want to give away your identity. But I'm going to ask anyway just to see. Is there, if I look online, can I find a picture of you in a selfie with one of the Capitol Police?
No.
Okay.
I was in the background.
All right.
I don't take selfies.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to know who I am.
I know. I figured I'd ask.
I'm leading from behind. You know what I'm saying?
I still think you're older than I am. Yes, leading from behind. Yes. Okay. All right. In the
a very
shadows.
smart guy said that. Unfortunately, he wasn't born in this country. But, I didn't care about that. I don't care who leads the United States.
Yeah.
As long as they move it forward.
Right.
And Congress, the Capitol, I love the building, but you know what? I'm not too crazy about the people inside it.
Mm-hmm. I understand, Q. I understand. Well, fortunately, there are peaceful means that we can use to replace those people through democratic elections.
How's that working out for you? You're pretty satisfied with Congress?
Well, no.
I've seen some of the polls on Congress. I mean, they're polling at about 11%.
Yes. Melanie Fedderson in the chat room just called you a snowflake for being in the background.
Oh, yeah. They got these words. She's probably a big supporter of AOC. And don't get me wrong, I think AOC is kind of cute. I've gone to places where they had barmaids just like AOC. I think she should go back to that job. I think she did it pretty well.
Well, it's not the best job to have during COVID.
Trying to turn America into some Marxist utopia. What is that? We're getting political education from a barmaid from the Bronx.
Well, it would be nice if a poor person could go to the doctor without going into bankruptcy. Things like that, I think she's interested in.
I'm not against people going to see a doctor, but you know what the problem is with that.
What's
the
that?
Doctors, they're all afraid of COVID now. They don't want to see anybody.
Well, so Q, are you? You never answered my question, Q. Have you been vaccinated? I'm very concerned about you.
You ask so many questions.
Well, I'm worried about you.
I haven't been vaccinated, because you know what?
What?
That whole thing's a hoax too.
Oh,
the vaccination thing's a hoax. We're supposed to all get vaccinated, by January 19th. Look what's happened.
Yeah.
I don't even know anybody who got a vaccination.
Well, yeah.
But, it's probably a fake vaccination for a fake virus.
Do you think that
all these numbers are fake? It's like every other government number.
Well,
you think the unemployment rate is 6.7%?
No, I think
that's the real unemployment rate.
No, you may have found another thing we agree on, Q. I think the actual unemployment rate is much, much, much higher.
Well, what about the inflation rate? You think the inflation rate is 1.3%? Have you looked at what rents are like in your town?
Yes.
Have you looked at the price of houses? Have you looked at the level of the S&P 500, the bond market, investment art?
I haven't looked at any of those things, Q. Those involve math.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Yes.
There's inflation out there.
Uh-huh.
A lot of inflation. And you know what the Fed says, right?
What?
Central bank? Well, they're nothing but a tool of the deep state. They want more inflation. Now, their mandate is stable prices. What do you think stable prices mean, right? It means prices don't go up.
Uh-huh.
Well, if prices don't go up, let me just say, I think the Fed's kind of a failure, right?
Are you in favor of auditing the... Would you like to get rid of the Fed and go back to gold?
Gold? You know, it's funny you should mention that because if you start looking at when the gold... You know, the U.S. dollar used to be as good as gold, but it was actually better than gold.
That's even an expression, good as gold. Why is that, Q?
Because you could buy U.S. dollar debt in 1968 and get interest on that debt on dollars that were backed by gold. You can't get any interest on gold, right?
I guess not. I don't know much about it, Q.
So the interest, that makes the dollar better, but they canceled all that. Another phony Republican that didn't get impeached. It was coming. Richard Nixon.
Yes.
France wanted to exchange their dollars for gold. Nixon said, no, screw you, and that was the end of the dollar standard.
Well, it being Nixon.
I'm trying to give you a little history here, Matt.
I appreciate that.
I'm trying to educate you a little bit about the deep state, about Donald Trump, the movement, the takeover at the Capitol. But the takeover at the Capitol, it was just a warning, you know? It was the cops at the Capitol that got violent, not us.
Oh, I see.
That's the people's house. We just wanted to go inside.
You just wanted
to look around.
Maybe grab
shake a few hands.
No shaking of hands, Q.
Well, we couldn't
not with
because
COVID.
they're all hiding under their desks.
So you just wanted to...
They heard the gunfire, which was...
Well...
The gunfire was from the cops, not us.
You just wanted to say hello. I understand.
Yeah. We just wanted to say hi, how are you, and why you're stealing trillions of dollars from the average taxpayer and shoveling it out to the airlines. Larry Kudlow's wife, who owns a business. Trump's, his tenants, his commercial tenants. The Kushners. Why am I giving my tax money to the Kushners? I don't give a damn about the Kushners. Now, do we agree on that? Well, I bet we do, right?
Actually, yes. Now that you mention it, on that part we do.
This is what I say. Screw the Kushners. You think they're going to really be welcomed into that gated, guarded community where they spend umpteen $1 million for a piece of land for their new mansion?
You're kind of winning me over on some of this.
Yeah, that's right.
Strange.
That's right. That you got to get into the Q cult, pal.
Well, I don't know.
The Q cult is where it's at.
I don't think I want to be in a cult. I mean, what do I get? Do I get like a welcome packet or something?
A toaster the day you join.
A toaster? I have a toaster.
Toaster oven, not really a toaster.
A toaster
it's
oven.
Better than a toaster.
Well,
you get a free toaster oven when you join the Q community.
Okay, but are there?
But it ain't free, you know.
Well, I was going to ask, are there dues?
Yeah, well, there's an initiation. We call it a fee, but it's a donation. So, you know, when you decide to join, Matt, since you like the ideology...
Well, no, I didn't say that, but...
bring your checkbook and be prepared to write not a small check, not a modest check, a big check.
I don't have an actual checkbook. I do all my banking on...
You don't have a checking account.
I do all my banking online. I don't, who writes checks anymore, Q? I mean, it's 2021.
Well, who writes? I write checks.
No, okay. All right.
Sign them Q, you know.
Well, yes. Okay. All right.
They're collectible, too. You know, I've seen them on
eBay. I'm sure. Yeah. Well, Q, I will...
but you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something. That guy, you know, with the horns
I was gonna ask,
the bearskin thing around his head.
I was going to ask if you know him. Yeah.
That guy is not in the movement.
Oh.
He's just a hanger-on.
Oh.
Yeah, he's trying to catch some of the glory of Q.
Uh-huh.
But he's just he's a phony. There's a lot of phonies.
It's a Peter Cetera song.
He was in the right building if you want to see phonies. A lot of people pretending.
So a lot of the people
in the
there,
U.S. Capitol.
Oh, right.
I love the building.
Yes.
But I hate the people that work there.
I understand.
They're not trying to help you, Matt.
I know.
You know what they did?
What did they do?
Did you get a check from the federal government last spring?
I got a direct deposit.
Well, okay, you didn't get a check. You got it for like $1,200.
Yes, correct.
You know what the check was to Delta Airlines? $3 billion, Matt.
Yes.
They bought you off with $1,200, so you kept your mouth shut while they gave the lion's share of the money to Delta Airlines. What has Delta ever done for you? Have you ever traveled on Delta? You ever took a plane to see your estranged father, who's now a conservative, who used to be a Democrat?
No, he lives in New Hampshire. I don't need to take a plane to see him.
Okay.
But I have flown Delta,
You got me there. Have you ever gone on a Delta flight?
I have. I have flown Delta, yes. It was lovely.
Okay.
They give you
so
peanuts.
They put you in a seat, a tiny seat, like you're a sardine, and they sell you a cheap bottle of vodka for $5 that they paid 75 cents for.
Oh, I've never partaken of the alcohol on a plane. I'm freaked out enough. But all right. I usually take an Ambien.
Listen, I've taken enough time here. I got a lot of work to do.
I understand.
Because, as you know, we're going countrywide, in about 4 or 5 days here.
Okay.
There's going to be some more demonstrations. And this time, if there is some resistance, we're going to have to muscle up to that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I hope it doesn't come to that, Q. I hope it doesn't come to that. And let
me tell you something about the deep state, pal.
Yes.
The deep state, they defend their territory. I mean, it wasn't too impressive in the U.S. Capitol. 2,500 cops melting away into the wall as we entered. I mean, it was laughable. There was hardly any resistance. Took them, 4 or 5 hours to get some backup.
Well,
I don't know what the hell that was.
At least they were there.
Capitol Police.
They were there to
like
help
statues
you.
in Statuary Hall.
They were there to help you move those barriers. But I understand, Q. Well, I hope it doesn't come to that. I always oppose violence in all its forms, and I pray. And my friend Father Bruno, I'm sure, also prays that nothing like that comes to pass.
Well, you stay in that fantasy.
We need peace,
Matt, because this country was built on blood. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be at that microphone representing your city if it wasn't for what happened during the Revolutionary War. But let me point out, the tax burden that we fought for during that Revolutionary War, that was nothing compared to the tax burden now.
We actually fought against the tax burden, not for it. But we needn't quibble about semantics.
Maybe I misspoke.
You might have.
Thank you for correcting me.
That's why I'm here.
That was one of the things we were fighting about, the taxes, but that was nothing compared to what we're paying now. Everybody wants taxes. You got a phone, you're paying a phone tax. You want to get a beer, you're paying a tax. A shot of liquor, you got a tax. You own a car, you're paying a tax. You own a boat, you're paying a tax. If you own a condo, you're paying a real estate tax. You're paying federal income tax, Medicare tax. You're paying Social Security tax. It never ends.
That's true. I agree with you on that as well, Q.
You got to listen to Q more, Matt. You got to have Q on your show sometime.
We did find
Q's got a lot to say.
Yes.
And this ain't the fake news. This ain't the New York Times representing people like AOC and Nancy Pelosi. This is the real stuff.
Wow.
This is the real information, and you're getting it from the real source.
Yes.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna let you go on with your show. It's good hearing from you, and I'm glad we agree on a few things.
We have built a bridge here today, Q. I absolutely am astonished to say that, but yes, we have.
I'm back.
Your Q is back. All right, Q. Be safe out there.
Okay, that's it. I'm gone.
All right, bye-bye. Wow. We haven't heard from our friend Q in a long time. And for any Trekkies who might be listening, no, it's not that Q. It's a different Q. He just goes by the letter Q. But it's been many, many months since we've heard from Q. What a surprise on this Friday afternoon here. Matt Connarton Unleashed. What a surprise. I'll tell you, we've opened today's show with it's a big day. All right, we have another call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
What's up, Matt?
Hey, Tony D. How are you, my friend?
Is that Crazy Joe on a mood stabilizer?
No, that was Q.
You sure?
Positive. He does sound. I know why you say that. He does sound a little bit like Crazy Joe, but I promise you, it is not Crazy Joe.
Okay. Well, I got an update for you
On Crazy Joe.
I do.
Really?
So he obviously has been listening to the show. He still listens to your show because he sent me a message yesterday.
Yeah.
In regards to my show about being the number one radical host in the country. I am the epitome of a radical host. And he has heard the things that I have said on FM radio, which the only FM station I call is you. So now I'm going to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call you out right now, Crazy Joe. And I want you to call Matt Connarton, and I want you to define what you mean by a radical host. Now, Matt's a green host, right? You're a green host. I don't know what a radical host is, but he obviously listens to the show and hears our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to call him out,
okay,
and have him put down his tantrum, his little stomping his feet like a child, and running away from the show instead of, calling in and being the man that he supposedly is.
Right.
And I want him to call the show and define what he means by a radical host. He's the number one radical host in the country. FM isn't ready for him in this message that I got. And I can stay with the slums of radio people up in the north, whatever that means.
So just so I'm clear, Tony, so what, did he message you on Facebook and say this?
He messaged me on my show's page.
On your show's page? Okay.
Yeah. So, but he obviously is listening to you still, because he obviously, the only FM station I call is you.
Right.
So he's in there. He's listening.
Interesting.
But I want to know, because he's putting up. So, he sent me a message. I haven't been on his page in God knows how long. So I went to the page. The last video he posted wasn't from like November, but in the last 4 days he was like, F Facebook and all you Facebook scum that follow me. Like he talks really nasty to his fans. Like,
oh, I know.
Well, if you call them fans.
Oh yeah.
But I am calling him out on FM on WMNH, and I want him to call in. And I want him to put forward what he's talking about on the air, on what he means by radical host, and why he downplays everyone from the WMNH family because he's not getting his way. You can send me messages. That's fine. You can curse me out. That's fine. But why don't you just get on the mic and make good radio, and let's hash this out.
Wow. Well, I would love to hear from Crazy Joe. I saw a lot of potential in him, and he got angry. I don't know if he's bipolar. I don't know what his deal is. I mean, he just, the more I tried to help him and give him input, the angrier he got. And then he ended up blocking me, and I got an angry message from him, telling him, I got an angry message from him telling me off, and it's like, I don't know.
He ended the message last night with F you.
Wow.
So he ended the message with F you to me.
Yeah.
I laughed because I dig into that. I love it.
Yeah.
But I want him to call in. I want to know what this radical host is. I want to know what this means. I want to know where we're going with this, and we can let the people decide on what this is. Because obviously this this problem started on the Matt Connarton Unleashed show.
Yeah.
So why not bring the problem back to the Matt Connarton and make good radio?
Oh, absolutely. Plus, I'm just genuinely curious.
Yeah.
I'm all...
Like where have you been? Did you get a mood stabilizer?
Yeah.
What has happened? Did we find the ganja? Are you on magic mushrooms? I want to know, Joe. I want to know.
Yeah.
If you're so radical, then you might as well take that radical to FM. Let's go.
Right.
So I'm calling you out. 603-250-6007. Give it a call.
I would love to hear from him. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll call. I mean, I already had one big surprise today. We got a call from Q, who I haven't heard from in like 6 months at least. So it would be wonderful to get a call from Crazy Joe. Who knows?
I just don't want him saying F you to me and then just going away. I got questions that need answers.
Yeah.
And I wrote back.
Yeah.
And I said, we can bring it to WMNH. He read it, and he never responded.
Yeah.
He never responded.
It is a weird thing, though, when somebody lashes out and you're sitting there going, I don't understand where this is coming from. I talked on the show recently about, we had a guest a couple of times on the show, Gracie Gatto, who
blocked you.
She started attacking me on Twitter out of nowhere for no apparent reason, me and John Hopwood, and then just ended up blocking me. And it's like, the hell did I do? And she's someone I thought was an ally. Like, we had her on the show to talk about race and social justice issues and whatnot, and some of the discrimination that she's dealt with. And, it's not like I'm some right winger that she's feuding with, but she started attacking me, and it's like, and I still don't know why. It's like,
so this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to tie up that guy. Took 40 minutes of your time, so I'm going to get off.
Okay.
I want to see if this dude's going to call.
Okay.
Because I'm all game. I'm not going to call back. I want him to initiate what this radical host thing is, and I want a little information on it, because I'm always open for a good radio war. I am so open for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it sounds good to me. All right. What's the expression I'm looking for? The not the line is drawn. The gauntlet is thrown down or something.
Falls in your court now, bud.
Yeah. There was some other expression I was looking for. It's not quite coming to me. But yes.
Shots have been fired.
Well, that's a little violent. We don't want to, given recent events and potential future events. Okay.
How about this? How about we go with this?
Yeah.
Where there's fire, there is smoke. How about that?
Or where there's smoke, there is fire. That might work a little better. But I thought I was the one suffering from adult onset dyslexia. But yeah, that sounds good. I hope we hear from Crazy Joe. I would love to hear from him and get his side of this. And we'll see what happens.
Come on, Joe. I'm calling you out.
All right.
All right, Matt. I'll talk to you.
All right, Tony D. Thank you for the call, my friend. All right, Tony D. from the Tony D. Show in Philadelphia, and of course from the It's All in Your Head show as well. You can find both of those online. And I think the last thing we heard from Crazy Joe was the last time he called into the morning show, and I think this was the last time anyone here at WMNH heard from him, and it's this.
But I didn't make the rules. I just play the game. So don't hate the player. Hate the game. And with that said... You like that one? Let me tell you something. You get me a job at that station.
There you go. Yeah, I'm very curious to know what Crazy Joe's, why he would lash out like that. Like I said, I tried to help him. I saw potential in Crazy Joe. And the more I tried to help him, the more the angrier he got. There was one video he posted. He was very mean to our wonderful friend Miriam Banish, who tried to be supportive of Crazy Joe. And the nicer she was to him, the meaner he got in response. It was very strange. But I think I think someone has hurt him along the way. I sense that there's some unresolved something. Someone has harmed him in some way along the way, and I think he's a wounded bird, so to speak. But I did see a lot of potential in Crazy Joe. He talked about wanting to come to New Hampshire and feel my muscles, and I had to keep reminding him, because of COVID, no one is other than Jenny is allowed to feel my muscles, at least unless you're wearing a glove, of course. Let's see. Well, that opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007 if you'd like to join us, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, if you go to mattconnerton.com and click Listen Live, it'll bring you to a page where you can also leave comments and pick up the live stream from WMNH there as well. And the Facebook Live video is there, too. So I'm trying to make everything nice and simple for everybody. Very, very streamlined, shall we say. Also, too, as far as I know, Rob Azevedo will be in to do Granite State of Mind at 6 p.m. So, we'll be doing the usual Friday thing where we wrap up a little bit early because I need time to wipe everything down, clean everything up, desanitize, so on and so forth, so that Rob can come in and do his show immediately afterward. And then don't forget, because it is Friday, Granite State of Mind at 6 p.m., and then tonight at 8 p.m., all new, all live, Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And by the way, there's for those of you who are watching online on the Facebook, you'll see you're familiar with this wonderful screen that we have now with the show's logo. If you tune in tonight on the Facebook, you'll see how amazing the brand new Retro Spectrum Radio logo looks on that screen. I've seen it and it looks awesome. I don't know if Paul's even seen it yet. I mean, I'm sure he's seen the graphic of it, but I don't think he's seen how it looks on that screen, unless he snuck in here one day and turned it on just to look at it. That'd be kind of weird. I don't think he did that. But, so Retro Spectrum Radio tonight live from 8 to 10 with Paulie C. And, of course, I have the honor and privilege of being Paul's co-host on that show, along with our friend Dan Randlett, who will be over there on the couch. So what I think we'll do, we'll take a break. It's almost the top of the hour now, but it is a shorter show on Friday because of Granite State of Mind. So we'll take our break now. I need to refill my water anyway. And we will be right back. We'll play a little something for you, show some love to our sponsors, and there is plenty more. Well, not plenty more. Some more of Matt Connarton Unleashed coming up after the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. We are live.
An anonymous, really an anonymous, gutless coward.
Welcome back, everybody. We are into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And, of course, you can also go to mattconnerton.com for the stream and contact info for the show and all that great stuff on this Friday, the last Friday. Can you believe it? The last Friday of the Trump administration. That was the last time. If you heard the top of the show when I played that Freaky Friday song by Little Dicky, the parody that's about Trump, that's the last Friday. I could still play it afterward, but it wouldn't be the same. Wouldn't be the same. Can't believe it. Yes, Friday, January 15, 2021. If you'd like to join us, you can call 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Do it soon because it is Friday, so we'll be wrapping up a little bit early to make way for Granite State of Mind. Rob Azevedo coming in live for 6 p.m. So it is the COVID era. Need a little time to clean up and scrub down and disinfect and all that. And then I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. from 8 to 10 for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. I'm Paul's co-host on that program, along with our great friend Dan Randlett. So we have a lot of fun here on Friday nights from 8 to 10, so make sure you tune in for that. But in the meantime, give us a call, 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton. Send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. And you can comment on the on mattconnerton.com as well. So you have a number of different options. But I think we we do. We have a call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, it's Stacie Laughton from Nashville.
Hey, Stacie, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, I wanted to call in and just kind of, recognize how, it's Friday again. Wow, last year went by fairly quick, but we're already, 2 weeks into the year, 2 weeks into your shows, and this is pretty cool, but then again, very eventful last 2 weeks. Very eventful.
That's right. Well, it's been a very unusual transition between administrations.
It has.
Usually it's fairly perfunctory, but not this time.
Exactly. I didn't know that. I remember I heard, I think it was on Ben's show last night. You guys were talking about how, you were unaware that, any, president, if they hadn't gone to their successor, inauguration, and so, or the person taking over for them, and you thought they'd all kind of gone. And I thought the same thing too, but I was unaware that, like the John Adams and John Quincy Adams, who are from Quincy, Massachusetts. I've been to their burial site at the Unitarian Universalist Church. Quite interesting there. But I had no idea that they didn't attend their next coming president's inauguration. And, but that's interesting. But this here, that does sound kind of normal. Maybe they just don't go, but they probably still let the transition just go. Let it go through. They're not calling on angry mobs of terrorists to challenge the Capitol,
Yeah. Everything about this particular transition has been quite unique.
Yeah. And I just hope we never see anything like this again. But it does kind of set a tone, because it's like, I remember the day after he got inaugurated, I was part of the Women's March, and we went down there to Washington, and, that was peaceful. And other demonstrations over time, Martin Luther King, the anniversary since when they do commemorate the Martin Luther King marches and whatnot, those are all peaceful demonstrations. I feel like, we can get a message across without getting violent. And I've said that before, on your show, but look at all that's been accomplished through nonviolent, peaceful demonstration. And what's being accomplished out of this? Numerous arrest warrants.
Oh, yeah. Yep. The FBI is,
and that's just, and then they're hefty charges.
Yes.
These aren't like minor, petty charges of theft or, little mischievous things. This is serious. I ain't going to say it, but, it's serious stuff.
Well, the thing is, the more we learn about what happened, the more it's obvious that this was not just a protest that got out of control. This was planned. This was, a paramilitary operation. They had things planned. They probably had some inside help. They knew where people's offices were. The panic buttons had been disabled ahead of time. This was very well planned, and nothing about this was spontaneous.
No, and it makes me concerned, and it makes even my colleagues concerned. Not even a Republican or Democrat issue at this point, because we even saw a Republican governor get, demonstrated against in a violent manner. And it's, they've said, for the state reps to be extra vigilant to all the state houses. They're even asking right now people that work, I don't know if you know this, but the people that work at the state house between, I think, the 19th and the 20th, They want them. Nobody there. Nobody. No maintenance people.
Really?
Anybody that works in the offices that can be there, that we need there. They want them working remotely. So basically, the State House for a couple of days will just, and the LOB will just be empty and vacant.
Wow. So they're being very cautious.
Yep, because there have been threats on state capitals. There have been other incidents that I haven't heard of anything specific. I'm sure there's things, and there's things that could still happen. And they even brought it up to us in our caucus yesterday, just to be a little extra careful, be aware of your surroundings, and don't go into places. Don't go to places you probably aren't used to going, or just lock your door. We already do that anyways, the standard stuff. Yeah. And I guess the National Police, they're all aware. Chief of Police was saying how they're taking precautions. They know where roughly, they know where all of us are at, so they're doing extra patrols through the city and stuff, which is nice. Because there's 30, and I'm sure there's maybe more in Manchester, because I don't know if you guys have 3 reps per ward, but you have more wards than Nashua. And we have we have 3 reps per ward, and we have, I think, 9 wards, and then there's like 30 reps in the city of Nashua.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're gonna it'll keep the police a little extra vigilant too.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, good. They're on the job.
Yeah. So,
all
anyways, really quick before I let you go, because your ending's early, and I know you had a long call from Q earlier, which was quite entertaining. I want you to know, we mentioned the other day that we had you live, and I know the end of last year we said that things were getting pulled and things would come back. I want you to know, because I'm in studio and there's a few other people there working with me now. In the morning we have the morning show, Peter White anchored on our air, and every afternoon you take over from the amount of time you're live up there in Manchester. So we're bringing you guys back, and we got shows in a rebroadcast. So we're happy to do that for you, because the content up there is just absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Peter White puts together, as the content director up there, he's brought in you and other great hosts, and the sports show. I know Zombie really loves the sports show. She's a sports fanatic.
Oh,
so I like sports too, but
yeah,
she's my sports fanatic. And so, a big shout out to WMNH and what's to come this year for you guys. You already last year, a lot of accomplishments, the holiday drive there, the Miracle on Elm Street, and let's hope that COVID passes this year and all the awesome stuff that the station loves to do gets to come back.
Absolutely, yes.
But anyways, I'll let. What's that?
No, I just said absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to, wish you guys a happy weekend. Make the most of it, stay positive, and be well.
All right, Stacie, thank you. You too. Thank you for the call.
All right.
All right.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, the Honorable Stacie Laughton from Nashua. Hey, by the way, I saw in the Facebook live chat, Tom Blanchard said, just to be fair, the Democrats didn't participate in the Trump inauguration. Well, there was a handful of Democrats who boycotted it, or at least there was at least a couple. But Barack Obama was certainly there. Geez, even Hillary and Bill Clinton were there. And it must have killed. I mean, can you imagine how hard that was on Hillary Clinton? I know, she's not exactly regarded as a sympathetic figure, even by a lot of Democrats. A lot of Democrats resent her for losing to Donald Trump. But I've often thought about this. Every presidential election, I always think about this. Just as a person of empathy, my mind goes here. Can you imagine, whether you like the candidate who loses or not, however you feel about them, can you imagine what that must be like? I mean, obviously life, we all face disappointments. We all have setbacks, things that we're trying to accomplish that don't quite work out, and then you feel disappointed, you get frustrated. Hopefully you dust yourself off and get back up and, either try again or move on to a different goal. But can you imagine what it must be like if you try to put yourself in that person's shoes to be that close to being president of the United States, to being that close to leader of the free world, or at least what we used to think of as leader of the free world. That's been diminished a little bit. But can you imagine what it must be like to be that close, and in fact to be so close to becoming president of the United States that it's all but certain that you are going to win, and then to see it slip through your fingers? What that must be like, the mind effing that must occur. I mean, just psychologically, can you even imagine? And what it must have been like for Hillary Clinton to go to Trump's inauguration. But so, Tom, not to correct you, but the Democrats did absolutely participate in the Trump administration. President Obama was there. They did the handshake. They did the handing off of the nuclear football, which has been complicated this time because Trump is not going to be there. And obviously Vice President Biden was there and everything. So the Democrats absolutely participated in the Trump inauguration, aside from, I think there were literally a few Democrats who decided to boycott. But absolutely a false equivalency. But for Trump himself to not be there, and again, at this point, certainly it's just better, right? Like before it was kind of disappointing. It's like, oh, come on. He's not even, he's so small. He's so petty. He's not even going to be there for the inauguration. He's going to just discard this tradition. But, after what happened last week, was it last? Yeah. There's so much time distortion these days. It's like, yeah, man, you don't want to be there. If you're going to be hanging out in Mar-a-Lago, hey, that's cool. You do your own thing that day. Vice President Pence will be there. And apparently, too, there was news today. Vice President Pence did initiate a conversation with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. And, so he wants to, he reached out to help her with this transition in any way that he can, because that's what a statesman does. And, I mean, I don't like Mike Pence, but at least he's doing the right thing, and he went down. In fact, Vice President Pence went down and thanked the National Guard's men and women who are guarding the Capitol. There's an enormous presence there in the Capitol, an enormous military presence now. And Pence went down there and thanked them. Not Trump, but Pence did. We're almost out of time, but if you want to get in with the call, you've got a little bit of time left. Again, if you're just joining us, a reminder, it is Friday, and Rob Azevedo will be in for Granted State of Mind, so we wrap up a little bit early on Fridays. So don't put it off. If you want to call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Let's see. Well, we should let's take a moment, too, to catch up with the Facebook live chat. A lot of folks in there. The chat room just gets busier and busier all the time. Tony D is in the chat room. Tony D is a top fan from Philadelphia, and, of course, host of the Tony D Show and the It's All in Your Head show. Angela Philbrook is in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Angela. Also, Brian Mackey is in the Facebook live chat. Brian from Idaho and host of the No More Excuses podcast. Let's see. Jenny is in the chat room, of course. Hello. Bobby Champagne is in the chat room. Bobby is a top fan. DJ Midas is a top fan. And, of course, he's in the chat and part of the WMNH family. He is the host of Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night from 12 midnight all the way to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sunday. He also created the big hit song Eggman in honor of Easy G. Tom Blanchard, I mentioned, is in the Facebook live chat. Tom says, I still love that guy, Q. You are the man. Yes, if you're just joining us, if you missed it, at the top of the show, we got a call from someone we haven't heard from in months and months, Q, calling us for the first time. We found some common ground on some things, I have to admit. You know who I miss, though, is Father Bruno. We haven't talked to him in a long time. I think we could use a little religion these days with the way things are going. And that's coming from a non-believer saying that. But I'll tell you, I'd like to hear from Father Bruno, actually. I think it would be quite reassuring. Let's see. Rocky Huber is a top fan in the Facebook live chat. Texas Michael Martineau is a top fan and is in the Facebook live chat. Hello. Jenny says to Texas Mike, you're the sole survivor of the purge. I think Texas Mike is the last one to still be friends with Crazy Joe on the Facebook. Oh, by the way, too, I wanted to remind you, and Stacie reminded me of this during the call. So if you missed it, last night I was the guest this week on the Weekly Die-On with Ben Dion and his father, Daryl Dion, and we had a great discussion about politics. If you missed that, of course, that show, along with all the other shows, are archived at WMNHradio.org, so you can listen to them and enjoy them on demand. So always a great time going on the Weekly Die-On. I enjoyed that a lot. Let's see. Just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Eric Street is a top fan in the Facebook live chat. Eric says, yesterday I watched Return of the Jedi. Now it's Return of Crazy Joe. Let's see. Somebody was asking, too, if Q was actually Crazy Joe, but I assure you they are not the same person. They do have similar voices, but they are not the same person. I do think that Q and Father Bruno might be distant relatives, however. But no, Crazy Joe is a completely different guy. Let's see. Rocky Huber even said, I like when Q's brother, Father Bruno, calls in. I don't think they're brothers. They might be like very distant cousins or something. Let's see. Miriam Banish is in the Facebook live chat. Miriam's a top fan. She says, I won't be stopping mask use for a really long time, and it might be that when flu season hits, I'll mask up again, referring to when this is all over. Tom Blanchard says, why isn't Giuliani being arrested? Rudy Giuliani. Oh, for incitement? Actually, Giuliani... apparently Trump has turned on Giuliani. Have you seen this? You know, there's I think there's really two key things that will end your friendship with Donald John Trump and his loyalty to you. There's a couple of different ways you can run afoul of him. One, of course, is if you don't back him up or if you criticize him in any way or he feels like you've betrayed him in some way. Then he'll turn on you, as he did with Mike Pence, for example. But the other way is if he owes you money and doesn't feel like paying you, then he'll throw you under the bus. You know, he's notorious for not paying people, you know, owing contractors money, owing this person, owing that person. He once owed a bank a lot of money, and he got out of paying off the loan by suing the bank. He actually sued the bank to get out of paying back the loan, and then they loaned him more money. True. It's all true. But apparently he feels that Rudy Giuliani has done an insufficient job defending him or not defending him, but, you know, doing something to try to overturn the election in the courts, because what Giuliani does and these other people associated, these other attorneys, you know, they go and they make all these crazy statements to the media about election fraud. And then once they're actually in a courtroom, they have nothing to say, because it's okay legally to lie to the media. It's not okay to lie in a court of law. If you lie in a court of law, you've committed perjury and you can go to prison for that. So, you know, so Giuliani, despite very obviously having devolved into a crazy old man, Giuliani, he still knows better than to try to lie in a court of law. Jenny points out the New York bar is trying to disbar him. Yeah, they probably will. They'll probably disbar Rudy. Brian Mackey says, give it time regarding Rudy's arrest. Miriam is happy to see the end of the Trump administration. Let's see. Yep, Tony D shared a link to the article in the Facebook live chat about Pence reaching out to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. But Jenny comments, yeah, it took him Took him long enough. I wonder if mother made him, because Pence, for those who don't know, Pence calls his wife mother. We had a whole big discussion about that one day on the show. This was a couple of years ago now about, whether or not that's creepy. Fred Bonig is in the Facebook live chat. Fred, of course, from the Daily Ripple and Ripple Radio, my old friend Fred. So Fred is commenting, because there's been all this speculation about what exactly Trump is going to do on Election Day. Is he going to take off in the morning for Mar-a-Lago? It's out there now that that Trump actually wants a big military send-off to commemorate the end of his presidency. The unmitigated gall of this man. But Fred says regarding Trump, he wants to leave on Air Force One, not have to ask Biden if he can borrow it to take him to Florida. Well, he probably wants to just take Air Force One to Mar-a-Lago and then let the government repo it for Biden. Because, with all the hawk, Trump owes so much money that, he's probably going to be having a lot of things repossessed soon, properties and so forth. Abigail Jem joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Abigail. Oh, Tony D says Dr. Dre has been released from the hospital. That's wonderful news. Yeah, the other day I opened with Straight Outta Compton by NWA, kind of in honor and to in support of Dr. Dre. It kind of got lost in the news because of so much else going on. But if you didn't know, Dr. Dre suffered an aneurysm and was in the ICU for several days. But apparently he's recovered now that he's out of the hospital. So that's great news. That's great news. Courtesy Call is in the Facebook live chat with a great reminder. I did talk to Scott Perry, the host of Courtesy Call, a great new podcast that you'll be able to find online. It'll be on IPM Nation and other places as well. Courtesy Call. Scott Perry called in with a courtesy call. No, Scott Perry was my phone guest, or actually Skype guest on Tuesday, and we talked. I hadn't talked to Scott for a while. He's done a lot in the music scene, but now he's very heavy into politics, and his new show will be available online tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the debut episode. Episode 1 will be available for download at 10 p.m. Host Scott Perry to be the most blunt and honest while being constructive and insightful. And Scott did share a link to the website in the Facebook live chat, and we'll make sure that goes out on all the Matt Connarton Unleashed social media as well, so you'll know where to find that. I'm sure our listeners here will be very interested, Scott, to hear your podcast. And we had a great discussion the other day. I really enjoyed it. And, it was nice to catch up with an old friend, too. There's that aspect as well. Stacie Laughton is in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Stacie. Rocky Huber says, has anyone else heard that Trump planned on flying to his golf course in Scotland, but the president of Scotland said he's not welcome there, put on a travel restriction on the country due to COVID, so Trump can't fly there? That's funny. So last week, I was on the Dr. Kevin show on the Ohm Times radio network, because the first Thursday of every month I'm a guest on there. And I hadn't heard that story. Dr. Kevin brought that up to me, that he had read that Trump had wanted to fly to Scotland during the inauguration, and they said no. He's Jenny says yes, that is true. That is a true story. Wow. Brian Mackey says 2021 has brought even more fun to the show and the chat room. Have a safe weekend, everyone. You as well, Brian. Have a safe weekend. Jenny says they are actually talking of banning him, but for now they have said he can't because of COVID rules. Oh. And Jenny shared a link to that in the Facebook live chat. Wow. I'll be damned. All right. Well, I think we got everybody who is in there. Let's see. Well, we are going to, we'll begin to wrap up. Like I said, we do wrap up a little bit early on Fridays because we have another live show coming up. But actually, we'll grab this call first. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this? Hello? Is it the Phantom? Or maybe I'm about to hear... Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
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 Is this Dave Ridley?
You shall call me Ridley, for I am called Ridley.
Hey, Dave, how you doing? Hey, we don't have a lot of time. It's Friday, so we have to wrap up a little early for the next live show. But what's on your mind, sir?
Well, you've been following the news probably about all the different social media platforms that are getting shut down, or like people's channels and stuff.
Yes. Bye-bye Parler. And, of course, Trump has been kicked off everything else, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Ron Paul was affected, and Jack Spirko, the Survivalist podcast.
I didn't know that about Ron Paul. I'm not familiar with, what's his name, Jack Spirko?
Yeah, he's a survivalist podcast guy. I think he's spoken at Liberty Forum a couple times in New Hampshire. He shows up, something like that.
Why
that's the right guy.
Why'd they shut him down?
Well, I don't know actually the details about that. I was actually calling to tell you about my shutdown.
Tell us.
Oh, you always know more about yourself, right?
Well, of course.
They banned the Ridley.
By the way, Dave, before you go any further, Rob Azevedo from Granite State of Mind is here.
Hello.
So I just wanted to introduce him to bring him into the discussion if he wants to chime in on anything. But yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, from the super secret project?
Huh? No.
Oh, I was thinking about something else.
I know what you're referring to, but no. Granite State of Mind. It's the live show that's on after me on Fridays.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead, Dave.
Hi, Rob.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, yeah. Initially, I was issued a warning. I did before just a pretty innocuous podcast that I did basically on YouTube. I just was reporting on some New Hampshire news. And then 2 weeks later, they said, now that was your warning. Now here's your first strike because again, I just uploaded another podcast. I was just talking about international news. It wasn't really nothing controversial about it.
Yeah.
And so they banned me from uploading for a week. And the next thing that happened is I'm banned from uploading for 3 weeks if I get another strike, followed by a deletion of my channel and all its content.
Is this YouTube doing this?
That's correct.
But why? Did they tell you why?
They said violating our community standards, and then they said violent or harmful content. And, of course, I was referring to some violent things that had happened around the world, I guess. I mean, I referred to, the vandalism of Aria DeMezzo's car in Keene.
Yeah.
She was a political candidate. And then I referred to some, international relations with China, basically, in the second video. I think it's just like an algorithm just run wild.
Yeah, I've heard of this happening. You and I might have even discussed it before, where people get wrapped up and get caught up in this thing, like you said, an algorithm where they're talking about, they're not advocating for things that are violent in any way, but they're talking about things that happen that are violent, and the algorithm catches it, and they get swept up in this thing where, you have always been very clear, you do not advocate violence of any kind, but it sounds like you've gotten swept up in this algorithm.
For speaking out against violent acts.
Right.
And, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, right. Yeah, just acknowledging what you were saying.
So I think the thing for people to do, that the best thing I can see is using BitChute. BitChute has been the best alternative to YouTube so far. And now my hits on BitChute are about the same as my hits on YouTube, because YouTube keeps making it harder and harder for people to see my content.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it, huh? I mean, they might make it impossible.
And obviously,
impossible.
It's anti-government content in a sense for the most part. And these two videos weren't really. But, obviously it's, I'm doing some anti-establishment stuff, and you would think that's the motive for them to do much of what they're doing. But in this case, it almost just seemed robotic. And there was an appeal process, and I did appeal, and I did file written appeals, and they would just send me form letters back saying denied. And it was like not even a form letter. It was more like a form pop-up. and it was just obvious. It seemed obvious
It's
to me
a
that I was
bot.
just interacting with a computer.
With a bot, yeah. Hopefully, if you appeal enough, it gets to a level where you get to deal with an actual human who can look at it and see. And I hope that gets. I hate to hear that, Dave. I hope that gets cleared up for you. But yeah, we gotta get going, Dave. But yeah, good luck.
Okay.
Good luck with that, my friend. And please give the Ridley Report a plug before you go.
RidleyReport.com. I do YouTube videos while I'm allowed to.
While you're allowed to. All right, my friend. Well, I'm sure we'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Bye,
All right,
Dave.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye-bye, Dave.
Bye-bye. All right, Dave Ridley of the Ridley Report. By the way, some breaking news. The NRA has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Oh,
I know, right? Rob Azevedo is here.
everything's falling apart, man.
What have you got? Did you bring in books or something?
I have a writer coming in, one of Carol Robideau's Ink Link
Oh.
columnists, Nathan Graziano, who writes some really, really great stuff whenever he puts it down. But he's also a novelist, a poet, and all that. And he's got a new book out, so we are going to talk about it, about his new book. He's going to come in here. He's going to read some chapters. We're going to talk a little bit about writing. We're also going to pay tribute. The Queen City lost one of their finest sisters over the last week. Her name was Bernie Russo. She was a bartender down, a longtime bartender at the Republic, the Wild Rover, Panucci's on Hanover Street. But she was a lot more than just a bartender. She was a friend of hundreds upon hundreds. Big family. So we're going to play a song for her and talk a little bit about Bernie. And going to kind of prop up. We're going to do a little promo next Friday at 6 o'clock. We're going to do try our hand at a radio play on Granite State of Mind.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go old school. We're going to dip into the 1980 classic Pulitzer Prize nominated play by Sam Shepard called True West. So we have some actors coming up, and we're going to just wing it, man.
Wow.
It's 2021, new year, try some new things.
Yeah.
We're, of course, going to be doing the music, but, the musicians, and while we're in this sort of stage, you might as well mix it up, right, Matt?
There you go. Well, that's what Easy G says. You got to mix it up.
Well, and I listen to Easy G. He sends me messages and stuff.
Does he?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. Those guys are good. How's everything with you?
Good.
Good, man. I haven't been in the seat for a month. I got hit with the COVID.
You did?
I sure did.
No kidding.
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's why I haven't been in. I'm all quarantined, all done with all of that stuff, negative. But yeah, man. And,
wait. Did you actually have it, or you were exposed to it?
Oh, no, I had it.
Oh, you had it. Wow.
Yeah, I had it, and it's a funny thing.
How did you do?
It's not great. It's not fun.
You had symptoms.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I was it was about, 2 weeks ago. I'm walking out of the bathroom on a Sunday night, and it just hit me.
Yeah, that's what I understand. It hits you quickly.
It was like boom, and it was somewhere between having a bad cold and a bad flu.
Yeah, okay.
So I know a lot of other people have gotten it worse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but went through it. It lingers, though. That's for sure.
That's what they say.
It lingers because you can feel really good in the morning, which I do. I'm like 100%. I'm ready to take on the world. Come 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, you feel pretty beat up.
I remember when Chris Cuomo had it on CNN. I remember him saying the beast comes out at night.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said he would feel okay. He there were days where he'd feel fine during the daytime.
Yeah.
Totally asymptomatic, and then at night he would feel terrible.
Yeah, you just feel, and it's not like, at least for me, it's just, you're run down. You feel this tightness in your chest, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I got it. I've been dang careful, you know what I mean? But I probably got it at the gym, so how careful can I be? You know what I mean?
Oh, the gym, yeah.
Why, you think that's a germ-heavy place, Matt?
I suspect it might be, Rob.
I know.
I suspect it might be.
But, I got through it.
Yeah.
Whole family ended up getting it.
Oh,
and
geez.
so.
But everybody's okay?
Everybody's okay.
All right, good. All right. Wow, I had no idea. Well, I'm glad you're well.
Oh, yeah.
And at least now that you've had it.
Can't get it.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor said. When I went down and got tested, he's like, you can look at it two ways. Sure, you got it. It sucks. But in 10 days, you can return to society.
And, probably now they're saying 5 months, they think maybe, they're not sure
The
how long
vaccine?
the antibodies last.
Oh.
No, the antibodies.
Uh-huh.
So the vaccine, in theory, should be available before your antibodies wear off, so you'll be able to avoid reinfection.
They were saying down at the Convenient MD where I went, they're on schedule to get the vaccines by mid-February.
Yeah, but there's that whole tier system.
Oh, yeah. Where do you fall? 2? Are you over 50?
No.
Okay, so I'm getting it before you.
Yes.
Yeah. The one winning aspect of being older.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, you and Peter White will be able to get it before me, but no.
Captain. I'm loving the new parts of the new studio looks great.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
That's right. Yeah, you haven't been here. Yeah. It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. All right, we got to wrap up. I got to wipe everything down. Not that
I got to get in my bubble.
Not that there's any particular risk to you at this point.
True.
Now that I think about it, I can probably do a half-assed job. No, I'll be
happy to clean it up to save you some time. I'm still gonna protect. I'm gonna sanitize, man.
Yeah.
I'm not letting up on any of it. That's why I wore the mask in. And
of course.
I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody.
Oh, of course. All right. So, Granite State of Mind coming up at 6 p.m. with the great Rob Azevedo. And then I'll be back in here at 8 p.m. for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. From 8 to 10. And, of course, don't forget Late Night Delight with DJ Midas tomorrow night at midnight. And be back Monday, 7 a.m. for the morning show with Peter White as well. Thank you to everybody. I heard from Q today. I haven't heard from Q in like 6 months. He called today. I don't know if you heard.
Who's this? Is Crazy Joe? Is he the New York guy?
Yeah.
That guy's an a-hole. That guy was messaging me. I'm like,
Was he?
I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are. And he went on this. Who the F, you New Hampshire hick, you come from nowhere? And I've got a pretty short temper, and I'm like, dude, I'll meet you in Rhode Island right now. But you're not going to show up.
Right? Yeah.
Real tough guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, he just, anyone associated with WMNH in any way got swept up in the Crazy Joe craziness.
Oh, he's a tool.
Yeah. Oh, well. What can you do? All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this program. If you missed any part of it, it'll be up in a little bit at WMNHradio.org. Stick around. Rob Azevedo up next with Granite State of Mind at 6 p.m. And I'll talk at y'all at 8 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Oh, yeah. He hit me up on it.